Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Julian, and today we're going to talk about the only EU residency program that allows you to acquire an EU passport from the comfort of your home, and that is the Portugal Golden Visa. The Portugal Golden Visa is the #1 Plan B and retirement solution in the world, and that's because there's no physical residency requirements. You only have to visit Portugal 7 days each year for the first 5 years to become eligible for citizenship. Now, the application is very family friendly. You have eligible dependents can be, of course, it's yourself plus your spouse, your partner, your significant other, children up to the age of 26, and parents of either yourself or your spouse, either one is or both. It does require an investment of 500,000 euros. However, with some of our exclusive options, you get an upfront compensation, which against your investment, which would help, which you can use towards the investment. So it reduces your out-of-pocket costs. If that's something of interest, make sure you send me an email or sign up for a consultation, and we can talk all about it. However, the reason the Portugal Golden Visa is the #1 program in the world is simply because it's the only one that allows you to acquire an EU passport without having to relocate to Portugal. You know, the application is filed, and that triggers your 5-year countdown to citizenship. So it's 5 years from the day we file your application you become eligible for citizenship, not Golden Visa approval. Golden Visa approval is irrelevant to your citizenship count. The date of your Golden Visa approval is irrelevant to the citizenship count. It's 5 years from the day we file your application. But what's truly important to understand is the Golden Visa is the only Portugal visa option, the only Portugal residency option that has no physical residency and no tax residency required. So when your Golden Visa is approved, you're not by default a tax resident of Portugal. You are only a legal resident of Portugal, but there's no physical residency required. So you simply have to visit Portugal 7 days a year for those 5 years, and in that 5th year, you begin your transition to citizenship. So you literally can acquire an EU passport from the comfort of your home. It is the only Portugal option that allows that. It is the only EU option that allows that. Now, it is important to know that the Golden Visa itself has a 2-year validity, so you will have to renew it every 2 years. But because citizenship happens, the citizenship transition begins in year 5, some clients only have a single renewal event, some have two renewals. It's just a matter of how that Golden Visa submission date and Golden Visa application date align. Because Golden Visa submission triggers your 5-year citizenship. Golden Visa approval triggers your 2-year renewal. So in year 5, it's just going to be determined by how those two dates align on whether you're going to need to do a second renewal even or not. But 2 renewals is maximum. You won't need more than that under the current system. Now, since we're talking about Portuguese citizenship, let's understand Portuguese citizenship. EU passports, EU citizenships are the most powerful passports in the world. And it's not just because they average 130 countries visa free, it's because they give you 31 countries of residency rights. And any EU passport, doesn't matter what it is, each EU passport is like having 31 passports, okay? The Portugal passport is one of the more powerful EU passports. It's ranked 5th in the world, 174 passport power ranking, 130 visa-free countries, and your 31 country residency rights. Now, it's critical to understand the true power here. EU citizenship is status, is advantage, and is access. The EU consistently ranks as the world's top destination in the top 5, top 10 for quality of life, retirement, education, healthcare, lifestyle, safety, and security. Portugal is ranked 7th safest country in the world in 2025 with the Global Peace Index. So, but it's these are the most powerful passports in the world, and not really because of the visa-free travel. It's because of this right here. And let's talk about those 31 countries. These are the 27 member states. Now, I've lived in many of these already because I am myself an Italian citizen, as well as an American citizen. So I hold multiple citizenships, but I've lived in Portugal, I've lived in Spain and Greece, I've lived in Germany, of course, I've lived in Italy. I've lived in most of these countries already. And so you have 27 EU members But these four countries over here, Switzerland, Iceland, Norway, and Liechtenstein, these countries are not EU members, but they're like quasi-EU members. They've signed an agreement with the EU, so their citizens can live in the EU. EU citizens can live in those countries, just like anything else. So it's 31 countries that you have residency rights. Now, these 9 countries down here are in the process of joining the EU at different stages of the process. Some of them in the next 5 to 10 years, some of them maybe longer than that. But these are the next 9 members, and Kosovo has applied, but has not yet been approved or it'll be approved. It just hasn't happened. But right now you have 31 countries that you can reside in, bank in, work in, go to school in, healthcare, etc., with any EU passport. Just something to remember, an important thing to remember. Portugal, again, is the only country that allows you to acquire the citizenship without physical residence, to acquire the citizenship without tax residency. Remember, Golden Visa approval makes you a legal resident, does not make you a tax resident. Okay, and you can acquire an EU passport without relocating. The Golden Visa in Portugal is the only program that allows you to be exempt from physical residency. It's in the law itself. Every other Portugal option requires tax residency and physical residency. Only the Golden Visa exempts you from physical residency. Okay, so remember, in year 5, when it's time to transition to citizenship, you need to prove your eligibility. You need to provide one of 2 things to the Portuguese government. You need to provide 5 years of tax returns in Portugal, or you need to provide 5 years of Golden Visa maintenance. You've sustained it for 5 years, the renewal dates and all, okay? If you're a Golden Visa resident, you don't need to show tax residency because you're not a tax resident. But if you're not a Golden Visa holder, then you must be a tax resident, and you have to show 5 years of tax residency. Now, Portugal's not the only Golden Visa that does make you eligible for citizenship. It's simply the only Golden Visa that you can acquire citizenship without physically relocating. The 3 other most popular Golden Visas and the 3 other most popular programs in the EU are Italy, which requires 10 years of physical and tax residency, Greece, which requires 7 years of physical and tax residency, and Spain, which requires 10 years of physical and tax residency. Spain is a little bit more complicated. 5 of those 10 years must be permanent residency first, but most important, very important, Spain does not recognize dual citizenship. So if you're American, Canadian, British, Australian, Taiwanese, Japanese, doesn't matter. If you want to acquire Spanish citizenship, you must renounce your original citizenship. No dual citizenship in Spain. In Greece, in Italy, and Portugal, you can have 2, 3, 4, 5 passports. Doesn't matter. Spain is the outlier in that. So Spain doesn't work for a lot of people, although it's a beautiful country. I'm in Spain at the moment. But Greece, Italy, and Portugal are the more realistic citizenship pathways, with Portugal again being the only one you can acquire from the comfort of your home. And with that being said, that's all there is to say. So this is my information. This is my email. If you want to learn more about our Portugal exclusive options, if you want to learn more about any EU Gold Visa or any other global citizenship program, and that is investment based, just let me know. You can scan this QR code. That'll take you to sign up for a free consultation, or just send me an email, but I'll also leave a link in the bio. Have a good day.